Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as you finally take your seats. Welcome back. It's fantastic to see so many of you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, the BIFA Freight Service Awards ceremony is now celebrating its 36th year, all of which, except one, have been held at this wonderful venue. Once again, demand for tickets has been phenomenal, and we welcome over 550 of you here today. To get proceedings underway, please welcome to the stage Director General of BIFA, Steve Parker.
Well, hi and good afternoon to everyone. Are you having a good time? Do you like the person you're sitting next to? Do me a favour, just talk to them and tell them how privileged they are to be sitting next to you. Okay, here we are at our 36th annual awards ceremony. Sold out actually a couple of weeks ago, and it is absolutely fantastic to see all of you here. This, of course, celebrates what we did in 2024. And for our industry, 2024 came with a number of challenges or opportunities. We had all the stuff that went on and is still going on in the Red Sea, although the sounds of peace is great. Nonetheless, we had to deal with that. And, of course, all the stuff that kicks off in Ukraine, as well as all of our local stuff. We finally put Chief to rest, and we've uptaken with CDS. That's what's happened in our industry. For BIFA, we've had a lot of changes in 2024. We started BIFA Link TV. Let's try that again. We started BIFA Link TV. I understand there are two types of people with BIFA Link TV. Those that watch it and love it, and those who've just never watched it. So if you're part of the never watched it, then I would urge you to get on board. Let me give you some statistics. We've done 133 episodes, 28 different speakers, over 17,000 views, and you've watched over 1,000 hours of BIFA Link TV. I think that's great, don't you? I think. My disappointment, if I can share a disappointment with you as my friends, is that the DG column is not the most watched. I'm not quite sure what you're doing there, but I am going to make an effort in 2025 to improve the quality of my column that goes out on the first working day of every month, and therefore it will become the most popular there is. We're also interesting to know that in 2024 we did a digital program with ITN. And on the ITN digital platform, there is a 40-minute documentary type thing about our industry, which we as BIFA led. We gave them the topics, we shared with them what they should talk about, we were there, and if you can stomach it, there are some pictures of me answering a few questions to ITN. That's what we do to promote our industry, and that's what we did in 2024. Also in 2024, if I could just bore you with a few more bits of detail, we had more people attend our policy group, more members attend our policy groups, our regional meetings, and our business leaders forum. All of that tells me that we are in good health, and for BIFA, we had an excellent year. What about today? Today, we are pleased to welcome James Cracknell as our guest. I spoke to James a couple of weeks ago, and I've been saying to everybody ever since that if he's as good on the platform as he is on the phone, you're in for a great afternoon. So James, very much welcome to this, and we're very pleased that you're able to join us. We also, and this is important too, welcome back our charity partner, Transaid. Now, let me just say something about this. As BIFA, we don't give away members' money to Transaid. What we do is we make events like this available to them. And I think it would be really great if this year we could collect more money than we did last year. Is that fair enough? If I might say, I suspect most of you have not paid to be here. Somebody else has paid your ticket. So maybe you could put your hand in your pocket and come out with can I suggest a £10 note or a £20 note so that actually we can help the work that Transaid do. Caroline will speak later about what they're up to, and you'll be able to follow that. But can I just encourage you to do that, and hopefully we'll create more than we did last year. Two things about BIFA in 2025 that I need to tell you about that are really important. One is that we've got a new set of training. The training comes online imminently. Watch BIFA Link TV. Bit of a cheer here. Watch BIFA Link TV. And you will see as they come on, our training comes online in this bite-sized e-learning chunks, which is what you, our members, asked us to do, that we have done. Get online, learn or follow the training. Great, particularly for new starters in our industry. And the second thing is, for the first time in nearly 20 years, we're going to hold a conference in 2025. You'll see the banner downstairs, 14th and 15th of May at the Slate in Warwick, which is part of Warwick University. If you can, sign up for that today, and let's make 2025 an excellent year for both BIFA and our industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Ladies and gentlemen, as the finalists gather to join us on the stage to collect their certificates, BIFA would like to thank the returning sponsors for their support in the event once again. The 2024 award categories have been sponsored by Albacore Systems, American Airlines Cargo, Descartes Systems, Descartes plus Box Top Technologies, Descartes plus Time IT, IAG Cargo, Macbeth Insurance Brokers, Menzies LLP, Port Express, TT Club and Virgin Atlantic Cargo. And those sponsoring elements of today's ceremony are ASM UK Limited, CNS, Elite Global Logistics Network, Maersk, MCP PLC, Simpex and Woodland Group. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage BIFA President Sir Peter Bottomley.
It's great to be here with the A to W of the freight industry. I don't think there's a member that starts with Z, so Woodhead, you bring up the rear. I'm no longer a member of Parliament, so I'm not liable to what Prince Philip called dontopedology, which is opening your mouth and putting your foot in it. But I think that you might want to think of inviting a serving minister or a past minister on another occasion who can show that being in the freight industry, it's a bit like driving a cab or cutting someone's hair. You're the only people who have the answer to every problem. And I recommend to ministers they start talking with you, partly because what ministers decide, and sometimes when international groups of ministers decide, makes life rather more complicated for you and for your clients. I praise you for the way you've managed to cope with all the disruptions, whether it's foot and mouth somewhere else this time, or it's in the past the Suez Canal getting stuck, or ships having to be rerouted around the Cape. I think it's quite amazing what you do. I've spent the last week with Captain Azem Hashmi, who was the master and commander of the Queen Mary II. And I commend it, if you ever get the chance of listening to him, talking about what they do in the transport industry, where he qualified as a pilot, a 737 pilot, and on the day he qualified, he was told that 200 pilots were going to become cabin crew, 200 cabin crew become ground staff, and 200 ground staff be sacked. He decided not to do that, but to go into the marine industry. He's been master of the QM2 for 7 years. He's only 47 at the moment. And he's an example of what many of your young freight forwarders are like, where people, when young, take on responsibility to make sure, first of all, there are no unnecessary problems, and second, to solve the problems that do come up. The problem you would have is that if I came with my fully prepared speech, which I've been looking at for a year, I read the BIFA magazine, I take out the interesting pages, and I found that in my file there are 180 interesting pages in the magazine. So those of you who don't read it, you jolly well should. It's interesting and it's important, and so is your presence here. Having said that, I'm going to get out of the way and try to make sure that when the main guest is introduced, he will at some stage tell you why it took him 7 times as long to cross the Atlantic as it took me in the Queen Mary 2.
Thank you, Sir Peter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your host and special guests for the day, who will begin by presenting certificates for the finalists for each category. Ladies and gentlemen, James Cracknell. Finalist certificates have been sponsored by MCP PLC and recognise those companies and individuals shortlisted in each of the 11 categories of the BIFA Freight Service Awards 2024. We start with the finalists in 4 general categories. First, the Project Forwarding Awards, sponsored by Macbeth Insurance Brokers. The finalists are Doigro UK Limited, Maersk Logistics and Services Limited, Perform Logistics Limited, and Westbound Logistics Limited. Next, we have the Specialist Services Award, sponsored by Descartes plus Time IT. The finalists are DFS Worldwide Limited, Irish Freight Solutions, John Pipe International, Metro Shipping Limited, and Samphire Cargo Limited. Now, we have the Staff Development Award, sponsored by Albacore Systems. Please welcome Doigro UK Limited, PFE Express Limited, Speedy Freight and Unsworth UK. The 4th award in this group is a Supply Management Award, sponsored by Descartes plus Boxstop Technologies. The finalists are Atlantic Pacific Global Logistics Limited, Noatum Logistics Limited, Seafast Logistics Limited, and Uniserve Group. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear your applause for 12 very bright individuals as we focused on the shortlists for the 2 individual categories, beginning with the Apprentice of the Year Award, sponsored by Menzies LLP. In the running for this prestigious award are Dylan Cheeseworth, Unsworth, UK. Ewan Williams, United Worldwide Logistics Limited. Joseph Freestone, Woodland Group. Keira Greenough, Cardinal Global Logistics. Leah Griggs, Laser Transport International. And Lewis Matthews, Legentia, UK.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please have
Ladies and
Eleanor
gentlemen,
Wright?
The second individual category is the very competitive Young Freight Forwarder of the Year Award, sponsored again by Virgin Atlantic Cargo. Please show your support for Ben Thompson, NNR Global Logistics. Charlie Griffiths, also of NNR Global Logistics Limited. Charmaine Anderson, Blue Water Shipping UK Limited. Georgia Gibson, Cargo Partner. And Magdalena Krasinska, Unsworth UK, and Thomas Bedosh of DHL Global Forwarding. Let's give these individuals another huge round of applause. The future stars of our industry. Big round of applause. We are halfway through the finalists, and we return to the business categories. Commencing with the 2 specialist categories. First, the Sustainable Logistics and the Environment Award was introduced in 2023 and is sponsored by American Airlines Cargo. The 6 finalists are DHL Global Forwarding, DSV Road Limited, Ital Logistics Limited, Peterson Freight Management, Renus Logistics Limited, and Wallace Shipping Services Limited. So, ladies and gentlemen, the second specialist award is the Extra Mile Award, sponsored once again by Descartes. The finalists are Carousel Logistics Limited, Killick Martin and Company Limited, Prologis Limited, Seafast Logistics Limited, and United Worldwide Logistics Limited. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we now invite the finalists in the 3 modal categories to the stage, beginning with the Air Cargo Services Award, sponsored once again by IAG Cargo. The finalists are Brunel Air Cargo, Kerry Logistics UK Limited, Metro Shipping Limited, and Uniserve. So, ladies and gentlemen, the penultimate award today is the European Logistics Award, sponsored by the TT Club. Please welcome the finalists. Cargo Overseas Limited, Mercury Freight Limited, NNR Global Logistics UK Limited, and Transportify Limited. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for holding on now. We come to the Ocean Services Award, sponsored by Port Express. The finalists this year are Atlantic Freight Limited, Denholm Good Logistics Limited, Kerry Logistics UK Limited, and NNR Global Logistics UK Limited. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together to join BIFA and the members of the sponsor judging panel in congratulating the companies and individuals recognised here today. Just now, ladies and gentlemen, bear with us a few more minutes as I now invite Caroline Barber, Chief Executive of Transaid, to the stage. Caroline Barber.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be back here today and want to say a very big thank you to BIFA for all of your continued support. Transaid is an international development organisation which transforms lives through providing safe, available and sustainable transport. This slide behind me shows all of our corporate partners, and we're so proud to work with you all. Transaid could not do the work that we do without the, frankly, incredible support from across the transport and logistics sector. Our power comes from partnerships, and it's how we maximise our impact. Road safety is a global public health crisis. Over 1.2 million people are killed on the roads every year. And while global road deaths have reduced by 5% over the last decade, they've actually risen on the African continent by 17%. Over the last 12 months, Transaid and our partners, including many of you in the room, have been busy helping us to train over 11,000 professional drivers in Uganda, Zambia, Tanzania and Ghana. With your help, we are supporting truck drivers, bus drivers, forklift drivers, motorcycle taxi riders, as well as cyclists and pedestrians across Africa. Transaid also works to provide access to healthcare services, and this is particularly for pregnant women and children in remote and rural parts of Africa. 300,000 women still die in childbirth each year, and 1 million children do not reach that 5th birthday. 1 million children. Transaid and our partners are working round the clock to change this. If there's a complication during pregnancy, or if a baby develops a serious illness, then available and affordable transport is a matter of life and death. Over the last decade, we've implemented access to health programs in Nigeria, Madagascar, Malawi, Uganda and Zambia. We've helped to ensure that children have access to life-saving medicines and that pregnant women and children have access to transport when they need it most. Some of you may know about and indeed have supported our flagship Mamas Against Malaria programme. This project has provided access to severe malaria drugs and case management across rural Zambia, and you have helped to keep those wheels turning. The results of that programme have been quite remarkable and exceeded our expectations. When we scaled the pilot to 10 districts, we delivered an 87% reduction in the malaria case fatality rate for children under 6. Children, like little Wiseman behind me here, are here today because he had access to emergency transport and medicine. A very interesting thing about little Wiseman is that he's actually, even in his short life so far, needed the bicycle ambulances that you've helped us put in place in communities twice. Once when he was born and he was rushed to a facility when there was a complication, and the second time when he contracted severe malaria, when he was exactly the same age as my own son, and shortly before this picture was taken. And let me just remind you that if you contract severe malaria and you don't get to a health facility, you have a 90% chance of not surviving. I've had the privilege to meet Wiseman and his family, and his father told us, Wiseman is now strong again, and he's playing exactly the way he was before. Previously, there was no hope. There were so many cases of severe malaria here, and there was nothing we could do. Now I'm very happy. Without this project, anything could have happened to my son. Our approaches are evidence-based. They're simple and they're sustainable, but most importantly, they save lives. Environmental, societal and governance factors, or ESG, are increasingly important for businesses to consider, of course, in your operations and decision-making. We at Transaid cannot achieve our mission without you. So please do help us to play our part in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, whilst we help you to strengthen your impact reporting and meet your ESG goals by supporting an international charity. One way in which you can support Transaid's life-saving work is by getting involved today, taking part in our raffle, which will be drawn after lunch. There are some fantastic prizes up for grabs today. A Silverstone Formula single-seater experience for 1 with the Silverstone Museum for 2. A Hotel Indigo Liverpool 2-night summer stay with Prosecco for 2. A Fortune & Mason Champagne afternoon tea for two at the Diamond Jubilee Tea Salon, it's a mouthful, a £100 John Lewis voucher, and a £250 Selfridges voucher. Special thanks to our very generous prize donors, the Woodland Group, BIFA, London Freight Club, Simpex Express, and OIA Global for your generosity. So Transaid donation envelopes are on your table. That's your way to enter the raffle. And we'd kindly suggest a donation of £10, which you could make from cash, text, or contactless payment. If your company would like to get behind Transaid's work, there's also an exciting chance to make direct pledges, and you can find information about this on the table. Transaid's eagerly anticipated Cork to Dublin cycle ride has just been launched for all your keen cyclists out there. It looks incredible, and it's definitely going to sell out this year, so please do give that some thought nice and early. We've also got places on all of the top running events in 2025, if some of you are thinking of making resolutions today. I'm on table 2, my colleagues are on table 55. Do please come and have a chat if you fancy the adventure of a lifetime and want to learn more about these initiatives. So finally from me, thank you so much for all of your support. We're so grateful for all you do for Transaid and the communities you help us to serve. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. As corporate supporters of Transaid, BIFA is delighted to share your achievements here today, and we urge those present to dig deep in supporting the raffle today. Now, before we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, one of our Apprentice of the Year finalists was unavoidably delaying getting here today, so may I invite Sir Peter and James Cracknell back to the stage to present the certificate to Keira Greenough of Cardinal Global Logistics. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the pre-luncheon formalities. So without further ado, please remain seated while I invite Charles Hogg, BIFA Chair, to say grace. Shh. Shh.
As we gather here today, we give thanks for the talent, dedication, and teamwork that brings us together, for the successes we celebrate and the opportunities ahead. May this meal nourish us, and may this afternoon inspire us to strive for excellence. With gratitude for those who have made this meal and the event possible, we pause to give thanks. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, luncheon is served.